Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? I hope you're doing very, very well. Well, right now, unbelievably, I'm trying to do a movie review and there's another storm hitting us at the moment. I'm getting fucking sick of these storms right now. This is now Storm Franklin. Now, after I thought about this, and I did a video outside in the wilds as the storm was just beginning to kick off, and suddenly it has kicked off, and we are at the mercy of ferocious winds, unforecast. This storm was meant to hit Northern Ireland, not us, or maybe the outer ripples would hit us in Merseyside and Northern England, and maybe the west coast of Scotland, but it hit us this afternoon. The little video earlier on describing how it was beginning to take form, and in the ensuing hours, where yours truly has been in the pub, of course, got to find somewhere safe, a sanctuary, safe and warm with sustenance and alcohol. But that storm suddenly came down with ferocious downpours of rain. Just literally, God Almighty, it was so bad. It was bouncing up off the pavements, and you'd be drowned in the up spray, let alone what was coming down from the clouds. And the wind is just unbelievable. It's off the scale. So once again, we have a storm. But no, that storm is not going to put me off doing this review, which I've been touting for a wee bit now, of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. We're playing, you'll hear some weird sound design sort of stuff taking place in the background. And it is the great Colin Stetson. Stetson, you want someone to compose for a movie that's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas, you want someone whose name is Stetson. And Colin Stetson delivers a great, although unnerving, massively angular, weird soundscape, jangling, angsty, sort of postmodern sort of score for this movie. But Stetson did the colour out of space for Richard Stanley, which I loved, and the film and the score. He also scored Hereditary for A24. The film I was about, but the score's great. So we're playing it now. It'll be disturbing us in the background, as if these guys here weren't disturbing enough in the background. Yes, it's a big shrine to Leatherface and skinned faces and our good friend Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Right, anyway, listen, so let's get into this, because otherwise I'll just go off on different tangents and we'll never get to the point of this review. This film, we didn't need another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. We may have wanted it, but we couldn't possibly, in our wildest of dreams, expected something that would ever even come near to the lightning in a bottle that Tobe Hooper created with 1974's original The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which is, as we all now know and understand, is a anarchic black comedy. It's a huge satire on American society. Yeah, I know. It's a gut-wrenching survival horror epic, and we all shiver and shudder and like, oh my God, it's so grisly and nasty, and yet there's no actual blood on the show. The only blood you see is actually from, you've got the hitchhiker, doing some slashing there, but the chainsaw mayhem is actually Leatherface dropping his own chainsaw into his leg and going, and hurting himself. We'll come on to all of this, the whole Leatherface thing, and like how he is the imbecilic, younger, brute, autistic, fucking whatever problems he's got, many other problems just beyond autism, of the Sawyer family in deep, dark, sweaty Texas. And he's not a serial killer. He's not. He is a member of a family. And he's part of this little bizarre, dysfunctional, weird setup of cannibals who are surviving, and getting away with it a lot. And Toby Hooper got that joke. He understood this was taking the piss. Nobody else in all the remakes, prequels, sequels, reboots, reimaginings has got the joke. None of them. And the guy who made this movie has not got the joke either. But, look, there's pros and cons to all of this. And but the original, Toby Hooper always maintained it's a comedy. It's a black, dark, gore, flesh creeping, horrible, nasty comedy. But that's what it is. And it's took a long time for me to understand what he meant by that. Because the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, his own sequel, which was much demanded, and they wanted put some gore in it. So he put gore in it, and it all went tits up for him. All around the world, the film was vilified, but it was nasty, but it was also incredibly funny. And he just said, look, I'll give you the gore you wanted, but I'm also going to just expand on the piss-taking joke that I was trying to make with the original movie. And I'll just celebrate it all the more and just make it even more, outlandish. People didn't like it. I loved it. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1, 1974, is a masterpiece of grueling, gut-wrenching survival horror. An unparalleled classic. Part 2 from Toby Hooper is fantastic. It's a complete riot of piss take. I love the characters. I love the way the slant it goes on, and it's genius. It's genius. It's funny. It's nasty, but you cannot take it seriously. But I love it. I love it. Then you go on to those ridiculous sequels, and oh god, The Next Generation and Leatherface, Texas 3, fucking shite. And they are shite. Well, Leatherface, Texas 3, it should have been a much more grueling movie. The gore was there, but they cut it all back. They didn't want the NC-17, the X rating, or whatever. They just didn't want MPAA cutting the film down, so they just butchered their own movie beyond belief. So it's not the film it should have been. Even though the great Ken Foree is in there. Ken Foree! Oh, he's awesome! But the film is still a travesty, the way it works out. Then you get Next Generation, then you get the reboots. Platinum Dunes did the reboot 2003. Jessica Biel, J. Lee Ermey, fantastic. Absolutely love that remake, 2003. I think it's fantastic. It's got the gore, it's got the grueling torture porn aesthetic, which we all think we saw in the original movie, but we never really did. And but it's got it in spades, and it works a treat. Love that movie, and I like the prequel that they did to it as well. That worked brilliantly as well. Then you got oh god, what was it? Texas Chainsaw 3D with Alexandra Daddario. Ooh, yes. And they're the 2+ points to it. Alexandra Daddario's chesticles. The rest of the film is fucking shit and stinks to hell. Then you got Leatherface. I was a teenage Leatherface with a chainsaw. Yeah, it's nasty, but it's shit as well at the same time. So what I'm saying, folks, is that when you approach this franchise, like many long-standing horror franchises, you're going to get elements of absolute tedium, banality, and sheer dross. And like Halloween and Friday the 13th and this Hellraiser. Well, Hellraiser has no... It peaked at number 1. It was okay with number 2. It dropped down considerably number 3. And then went down. Friday the 13th It's up and down. It's up and down. The early ones are the best by far. The remake wasn't too bad. The reboot, but I really don't want any more. I don't want any more. I just don't. Halloween. Fuck. You know, really, am I going to go into Halloween now? One of my favourite iconic horror characters of all time. And John Carpenter, the demigod that is JC. And Blumhouse. Fuck. And David Gordon Green. Now, we've got him to blame for this movie. Because by far, the reboot of Halloween, where we're gonna bring it into the modern day, which is 2018. Of course, big pandemics screwed the whole sort of timeline up for this trilogy. By the way, folks, psst, it wasn't meant to be a trilogy. It was just meant to be Halloween 2018. But wow, it was a big success. So then they made out that, oh yeah, this was meant to be a whole new trilogy, and we've got the story all lined up. And then we got Halloween Kills, and what a pile of fucking shite that was. I mean, Halloween 2018 is no great shakes. It's not. David Gordon Green cannot direct suspense. He cannot build terror. He just can't direct a horror movie. I don't give two fucks about everyone out there who go out in the box office. Oh, and I celebrate that. The people are loving a Halloween movie, loving a horror movie, and paying money to see it, which is only going to create more. But the problem is, it's creating more of the same shit that he created. And I do like Halloween 2018, but I detest so many elements that are in it. Dr. Sarte, fuck right off. Stupid. Laurie Strode, get out of town. Halloween Kills, just, oh, we can't believe our luck, so let's make another one. Yeah, let's just up the gore and like plenty of kills, but make absolutely zero sense at all, and have the worst script you can imagine. Well, until maybe now. We're coming on to it. But so yeah, Halloween is the exact sort of the business market sort of angle which they've gone for with the new Texas Chainsaw movie. Fede Alvarez, who did... what is going on with this guy? It's remakes. He did the 2013, was it? Evil Dead reboot, which I detested at the time. I'm a massive Deadite. I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness kind of dips down a fair bit because it goes into just like fucking comedy and just fantasy. Which I love, but I just don't think it's anywhere near the levels of the first two movies. Then he did a really dark, nihilistic, bleak, unlikable, horrific, gory remake, which at the time I saw it day one. I reviewed it day one, and I was not happy with it at all. I've since watched it many times and got the full uncut version, of course, as we all have, I'm sure. And I've turned a lot on that. I actually do really admire the movie. I hate the characters. They're fucking horrible and idiots. I can't stand them. I want them to be killed completely. Again, another parallel with this movie. See, this whole thing is going to turn full circle. I'm building up to the film review, but I'm layering this with a foundation as to why my opinions are thus on this new movie. And hopefully it'll make sense in the fullness of time. But his remake, of Evil Dead, I grew to love for its atmosphere, its violence, its nastiness, its pure black-hearted spirit. And I thought, yeah. Sam Raimi, you were having fun with all this. And even when I was a kid and the first Evil Dead came out, which I've discussed many times, and I loved it, was blown away by it, was terrified by it. Now, even though it's still got some great standout shock moments, you cannot take it seriously. And then Evil Dead 2 takes the piss out of itself, but it's still a tremendous horror comedy, and it's wonderful stuff. It's unparalleled, in fact, in the realm of horror comedy. It goes beyond. And so Fede Alvarez then takes on board Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, he had done Don't Breathe as well, which I do admire. I think it's a great movie. Very atmospheric, very suspenseful, a great idea as well. So I like Don't Breathe. Then he comes up with this. Now, you kind of knew that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's not done well in the sequel sort of ideas. The reboot, Platinum Dunes, was fine. Texas Chainsaw 3D, Alexandra Daddario, and yeah, it was fucking rubbish. And the amount of stupidity. It's meant to be set in whatever year it was meant to be in, and yet they've got mobile phones. And the timeline did not work at all. And do what you do, cuz. Fuck off. It was just a load of shite. And it wasn't even as gory as they made out. It didn't do all that. So they're now realising, well, where are we going to go with this? We need to reboot Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, first of all, what are we going to do? Well, we've got only a moderate budget. We're going to use practical effects, and we're going to bring back Leatherface. What we're going to do, we're going to shoot it in Bulgaria. Stop there. This is the pitch. You're bringing back Leatherface, and you're going to set it in the modern day, so 2022, essentially. The first film came out in 1974, and Bubba, here he is, Leatherface himself, the younger brother of the Sawyer clan, the cannibal clan. So he's going to be now, what? Pushing 70? Yeah, I think so. It's going to be mid to late 60s, right? That's how it's going to be. And you're playing that now. So he's now a guy pushing 70. Yeah, okay. I can see where you're getting this from, because a certain Mr. Myers from Haddonfield is now in his 60s, but he's still he can still cut and slash and destroy and maim and dismember like a fucking juvenile delinquent with, a chainsaw, an axe, and a machine gun. So you're following that. They don't just copy that, they copy other elements as well. But the Halloween Blumhouse template is what's in place for this Texas Chainsaw reboot. Okay, let's go into the fucking plot of this, for what it's worth. You basically want... oh, sorry, I mentioned Bulgaria, didn't I? Sorry, I'm going to leap it out. I don't like. I've been out, I've had a few bevies in the storm, I've gone for a few bevies as well. So I'm going to, obviously flit about a bit here, but, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Bulgaria. They didn't shoot it in Texas. Many of the films were shot in Texas, but they shoot this one in Bulgaria. Because Bulgaria is twin with Texas, isn't it? You fucking kidding me? I did a big video on it when the trailers came out for this movie, and I said how un-Texas-like this looks. Now, I'll be honest, when you watch the full movie, some of it is convincing. Some of the open road shots, you got big meadow fields, you got the big sunflower fields. We'll come on to all that as well. These wafting of sunflowers and maize and wheat fields and all that. You've got that. Then you've got this little ghost town of Harlow, which are unlucky youths are going to be sliced and diced within. And that is just a purpose-built location in Bulgaria. And it looks just like the purpose-built location set that they built for Expendables 2. As in, just facades at one fucking street, all to be blown to bits. Or in this case, just chainsaw to bits. It does not look realistic at all. And it does not look one iota like Texas. The cinematography in this movie is pretty good. It's actually pretty good. But they've used massive tints. Okay, the director, David Blue Garcia. Yeah. Who? apparently, I was going to level a fair bit of, disdain at his feet, but I can't do that because I've since learned that he was brought in only at the last minute, literally the week before filming began. Everything was in place, and then he was drafted in, and like, right, all the creative decisions were in place. You just fucking shoot what we've written here. This is our script. You shoot that. Here's the cast. Get on with it. He had no real input, no creative input into the movie. This is what I subsequently learned. So really can't blame the guy. And he does deliver a workmanlike slasher epic. So you can't go wrong with that. He's just delivered what was on the screenplay page, and he's tried to be as imaginative, cinematography wise and direction wise as he could be, given the limited sort of perspective that he had on the whole thing. So, but they're in Bulgaria. It does not look like Texas. A couple of those wheat fields maybe do kind of give the idea of like rolling open lands, but they use a filter. They're meant to have used old school lenses to try to recreate what Tobe Hooper created in 1974. Fucking bollocks. It looks super slick. That's not a bad thing, but don't try and say it looks like the original movie. It doesn't look nothing like it at all. It's slick. They put a filter on so the skies look sweaty and dark and like, like it's hot. But you can tell it's not hot at all. So it's a fucking travesty. Just trying to say, oh, we've gone back to these old school lenses and all this kind of thing to try to mimic the original movie. It doesn't look anything like the original movie. It's super slick. You use filters to make it look darker and danker and sweatier, but we're not getting that. We're not feeling it from the screen. The original movie had acres and oodles of just in-your-face sweat and the smells and the heat, mosquitoes. Oh God, it was unpleasant. It was just, you don't want to be there. This film is just like it's like a weekend down in Bournemouth. It's just, there's a rainstorm as well, because the back end of this movie is a fucking torrential rainstorm. Anyway, what's the plot? I'm getting to this. It's a big wind up, I know, of course. I'm only having fun, folks. Just stay with me. We've got a bunch of the woke community, the cancel crowd, who, and I cannot believe that this was the plot. If you want to shoehorn in literally dozens and dozens of victims, I suppose who could go wrong with this? Fede Alvarez, who produced this, I forget the name of the guy that wrote it, although I can probably find out. In fact, I can do that right now. Let's see. The guy that wrote this is Chris Thomas Devlin. Exactly, yeah. Who knows? Now, they bring in this crowd. They're from, I think there's two couples. There's Dante and Nell, who are chefs from San Francisco. But they're Instagram superstars and they're influencers and all that kind of crap. And they've got their friends who are two sisters, and that is Melody and I forgot the other one's name. Hang on a second, I'll get this. Lila, who's the younger sister. So these are on a road trip to the town of Harlow, this little ghost town, way out in the sticks of Texas, and their idea is to buy up all the properties within that this little ghost it's a one street town. That's it, like an old western ghost town. And they're going to buy up these properties. They've apparently got the old orphanage that's there, and their plan is there's a whole bunch of investors going to come in on a big bus the same day that they get there. This bus load's going to arrive with all these multi-racial, multi-ethnic, young hipster fucking knobshines, the Zoomers. They're all in there, and they're meant to buy up all these properties. in the middle of fucking nowhere. The idea being we're gonna make this some kind of like fucking super duper hipster sort of I don't know, designer outlet town of boutiques and restaurants and bars and what have you. You're in the middle of fucking nowhere. That worked with Vegas, I'll give you that. But the gangsters had that sorted. What are you guys going to... This is not going to work. I mean, I don't know why I'm hanging, a bit of a grievance on this, but it just seems so fucking stupid. I mean, does it happen? Does it happen? Do the fucking Zoomer crowd, ex-gen bullshit, like, cancel community, do they go out and buy up old ghost towns in the middle of friggin' nowhere to try to create, like, as is said, it's a cult. This community, who's going to come in and spend money? Who's going to travel that far out into nowhere to go and spend money with all this bunch of fucking losers? No one. But does it really matter at the end of the day? You want victims, and boy, do you get victims. And the great thing is, you hate every single person in this movie, so you want to see them disemboweled, dismembered, eviscerated, decapitated, and you'll see them all go through that. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, folks. So anyway, so they get there, but they realise that, hang on a minute, there's people in the orphanage, the old orphanage that we bought, or they reckon they bought, and they've got the deeds to it. But Dante can't find deeds. But inside that orphanage is the great genre queen. She is also the Borg queen, Alice Krieg, from Ghost Story, from Sleepwalkers, from obviously Star Trek, and many, many other movies. And she's wonderful. And she plays the aged proprietoress of this old, decrepit orphanage in this purpose-built little one-street fucking hick town, location in Bulgaria. And she's wandering around with an oxygen tank and a face mask. Now, who's the strange guy at the top of the stairs? The big guy at the top of the stairs who looks after her. And Dante and his girlfriend Nell, these are the chefs, managed to piss her off to the point where she has a bit of a, she rails against them, but then has a heart attack. So, they call, emergency services, and what's his name? William Hope, who's the sheriff of Harlow. This is the town. The town's called Harlow. It's a ghost town. And he's the sheriff of Harlow, must be Harlow County, clearly. He turns up with his little deputy. Now, William Hope, who's William Hope? William Hope was Lieutenant Gorman in Aliens. And he was also that fucking naive, short-lived dickhead in Hellbound Hellraiser 2. And beyond that, I really can't think what else he's been in. Probably lots more, but I really can't think right now. And it's great to see him. Did you see like a genre giant like Alice Krieg? That's great. Then William Hope, oh, that's great too. But Alice Krieg's, she dies in the back of the police van going to town for hospital, but the big guy's gone with it. The big mysterious guy. You know who that is. Of course you do. You've seen Dante and Nell going into this place and looking at photos around the place of all the orphans. Yes, I looked after all these children, and I looked after those, and they've all been very fine. One of them just stayed behind, and in the background of these pictures, these enigmatic pictures, you've got this big hulking brute of a dude, but you can't see his face because the picture frame's cracked, the glass is cracked, or the picture itself is scuffed, so you can't quite see his face. Yeah, you know who it is. It's Leatherface. Because the idea is that seemingly after how many fucking years, from 74, after the events of that movie, Leatherface, who survives the events of that movie, has then gone on the lam and gone off the radar. He's gone to ground, and he's obviously travelled X amount of miles across Texas and found himself in with the orphans, and then laid low for 50 years? Whatever the fucking that is, I can't, 50 odd years, and and he's looking after it. So, but in the back of the police van, and by the way, Nell, lovely blonde Nell, has gone with the coppers and this old crusty old witch and this crazy big old dude. She didn't even see this woman, so why did she go with him in the first place? I don't understand why she went with him in the first place, but she goes in with him, and the old girl croaks in the back of the police van. So Bubba, our boy Leatherface Bubba, goes fucking ape shit. Oh, what? No, no. And he's trying to, put the oxygen mask on. Ah, it doesn't work. She's dead. So he ends up going enraged. He kills the copper in the back by breaking his arm and using a broken bone shard, putting it through his neck. Oh, Christ. But the guy fires a shot which blows a chunk out of William Hope, the sheriff. So the police car crashes into the big sunflower field. Poor old Nell, who's in the... Why did she even go? I don't get it. Because it's a police vehicle. She can't get out the fucking door, can she? And she comes to... She thinks he's dead. He's definitely dead, the other deputy. The old bitch is dead. But where's the big guy gone? He's dragged the body out. And in the rear view mirror, she's seeing... He's cutting the face of this old biddy, Alice Creed. And in the sunlight, he holds it up. A severed face. He's going to put it on. So she's trying to call for help. It's a nice suspenseful scene. And but of course, then William Hope wakes up, but then gets the oxygen canister which the old girl was carrying in. So bang, bang, bang in his head. Fucking brains are coming out like. And then she'll be killed as well. But she's put a call in. She's put a call in. Quietly, a whispered call. And we then get to learn that Sally Hardesty, the girl that survived the original 1974 massacre, Marilyn Burns, who sadly died a few years ago. Otherwise, she'd have been in this movie. They would have brought her in. But they bring in the girl from the crazy Nick Cage movie, Mandy. Oh God, what's her name? What is it name? Alwyn Fuer. Alwyn Fuer. She plays the now much older Sally Hardesty. Folks, I must wet my whistle. She survived that, and now she's a hard-bitten Texas Ranger who spent her life. I know we're already going like, oh really? Spent her life trying to track down Leatherface because he's the bogeyman. What about there was a bigger family there. There's more people in the Sawyer clan than just Leatherface who survived the first events of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But she just wants him. For fuck's sake, you know what I mean? It's just stupid. And it's purely, they brought back Laurie Strode as the nemesis of Michael Myers. So we're going to bring back Sally Hardesty as the nemesis of Leatherface. It could have worked. It doesn't, but it could have. I'll come on to that. So she gets wind of this. Right. And she's a hard-bitten Texas Ranger now. Rifles, sidearms, handguns. She's got a big Stetson on, and she's got cowboy boots. A grizzled old alligator skin face, but she's strutting her stuff, and she's hard as nails. And you're like, yeah, well, okay. Actually, I don't mind. I do not mind the fact they brought her back. It's just that they didn't use her properly or well enough. But again, we're going to come on to all this. So anyway, Leatherface has now took the face of the woman who was his surrogate mother, plastered it onto his own, and he's killed the two coppers and he's killed Nell, and he heads back to town. In the meantime, we've got another character which I forgot to mention. They've already encountered him when he first arrived there. You've got the two chefs and you've got these two sisters, and these are the two main stars. And it's funny how I've not actually got onto them so far. These are played by two of the ugliest, most punchable women that I've ever seen on screen. And I don't mean to bring things down to an aesthetic level, but I'm stunned that they went with these two. They are so horrifically unpleasant to listen to, look at, and just to be around, that they destroy any kind of sympathy or empathy you might have. The soundtrack's dead bizarre and weird, but I do love it. It's one of the plus points of the movie. I will come on to that a fair bit later. But these two girls, Melody is the older one. She's played by Sarah Yarkin. She has eyebrows that would make Colin Farrell just melt with envy. And she's just so absolutely unpleasant to look at, listen to, and be around. You want to kill her yourself, genuinely. But her younger sister, Lilo, is the survivor of a high school massacre. Right, so we're addressing societal concerns in America. Gun law. There's another guy in the town, Richter, who's the mechanic. You've only got in this town, this Harlow shanty ghost town, you've only got Leatherface, his mother Alice Krieg, Ginny I think her name is, and Richter, who's got next door. He's in the mechanics there. Now he's got an assault rifle and a fucking automatic strapped to his hip, and right at the start of the movie, our heroes, when they turn up at the gas station, they encounter him, and they make jokes about his sidearms, his weaponry. And the guy playing Richter, and I think he was a great character, but disastrously underused, or rather cut short too quickly. He's played by, what's his name? Mo Dunford. Now, Mo Dunford was in Vikings. He played Ethel Wolf, one of the Saxon warlords who goes against the Vikings, and he was great. He's great, and he's great in this. He's an Irish actor, and his Texan accent is fucking phenomenal. And he looks a little bit like Chris Hemsworth. He's got, it's the beard sort of thing going on, but there's a bit of a Chris Hemsworth look to him, like a short-haired Thor look, baseball cap, and he's got all his fucking weaponry and all that. But he's actually not a bad dude, and the parallel is made between him having weapons, an armed Texan, and the paradox with a girl that survived a gun spree in a high school. Much is made of this, but it's very sledgehammered in and very heavy-handed. And although I don't mind this aspect being brought in, it's just how you deal with it. It's just there. It's not. There's no depth to her character. She has a bullet wound. She was shot, but she survived. And we see flashbacks to her lying in like one of the classrooms where bodies are all around her, and she sees someone die in front of her, but she's lying there, and like she's been shot herself, and she survived. So she and her sister hate guns. So they make a bit of a snidey comment about him having guns, and he's not a bad lad at all. In fact, he could have ended up being a hero. Circumstances, Leatherface will not allow that to happen, of course. So they piss him off, and then he pisses them off, and then they arrive in town and find out, oh fucking hell, he lives next door to the place that we've just bought. Shit. But how have they bought it? So Leatherface is now enraged because his surrogate mother has died. He's now wearing her face. He now goes back to his town, his new town. And Richter has now, this is the mechanic, the gun-toting mechanic, has now met and spoken to Lila, the traumatized victim of the gun spree, and they formed a bit of a bond. And she sees an assault. He's got an assault rifle on his table, and she picks it up and he's like, you ever fire one of those? And she explains to him what happened to her, and he sees the bullet wound in her, and a bit of a bond is formed. It goes fucking nowhere, let's be honest. But anyway, Richter then learns that Ginny, the old girl, died, and he then blames all these fuckers for coming in there. You know, she wouldn't have died. Are you sure you own that place? She argued with you because she said, I own that house. You're not evicting me. And he said, she takes the keys, you know, to the bus. A big bus turns up. Oh yeah, sorry. The big bus turns up with all these fucking youths from every fucking ethnic, you know, minority the world's ever known. And these are all meant to be buying up properties in this. Yeah, fuck off. You know, it's so stupid. So they're all there anyway. And but Richter learns, hang on a minute. So you guys are responsible for Ginny dying. Takes the keys to the bus. You guys are going fucking nowhere, you know, until you prove to me that you own that place and you didn't kick it out for, you know, unlawful purposes. So he fucking storms off with the keys. So then Melody, this fucking horrific fucking weird thing with them eyebrows. Oh God. And Dante, let's go and find these, because Nell's dead. Nell's off in the fucking wheat fields. She's dead. And so they go into the house to try and find the deeds, to find proof that, you know, we own this place. But Melody discovers that, oh shit, we don't. Ginny actually owns the deeds. So we have wrongfully evicted her, and we may well be responsible for her death because we incited this cardiac arrest. Oops. But of course, by, you know, those usual superhuman serial killer superpowers, Leatherface has teleported himself from all those fucking gazillion miles out in the fucking desert, sunflower desert, to back to the house. So when she discovers all this, oh, we don't own the place at all, Dante comes in and Leatherface leathers him. And she witnesses this, and then she goes hiding in the place. Richter will come in. Richter finds Dante. Dante struggles out, and half his face has been ripped off. He's been like scythed into the side of his head. In a nice little, almost like when Kirk gets sledgehammered in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then that steel shuttered door gets slammed shut. Well, we get like a sort of a variation on that. We'll see him getting attacked as a door. We're looking through a doorway and the door's swinging. So we'll see bits of him getting hit, and then we'll see him on the floor of the hole with blood gushing everywhere. Melody will see this, but he's not dead. He gets out, and when Richter gets him, Richter doesn't like him anyway, because there's been a Confederate flag floating in the town. Now Dante's he's a person of colour, so you understand why he want that flag taken down, and they tried to take it down, and you know but Richter's like, you know, that's from the old school. That's the way it used to be. It's tradition here. You know, you've got to get used to that sort of thing, and that's gonna work, isn't it? You know, but so we know there's animosity there, but Richter does go like, mate, are you all right? What's happening? He turns him around, and his face is like sighing through, and he's like, what the hell happened to you? Who did this? So Richter goes in to the house. Now Melody's seen the murder. Melody's hiding. She's been hiding all over the place. She's hiding under the bed, and like Leatherface has been putting makeup on his skin, the skinned Alice Krieg visage. He's been putting makeup on that, and he's got weaponry, and she's under the bed, and she sees like Richter coming up, like, and he's with Richter's arm, and what in a great, and to be honest, this is a great suspense moment. It's a pure Hitchcock and Giallo piece of expertise, where someone is trapped and they can't make a sound, and they will witness horrific murders, and they will also, and the person being murdered will see them, and like they're like, you know, don't make a sound, you know, don't let them know that I'm here, but I'm watching you die. And it's a great protracted, almost torture porn sequence, and it is nasty. Richter comes in. Richter's a fucking big hard dude, like, but he's not compared to this 70-year-old Leatherface. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But what she does to try to tip him off, because Leatherface hears him coming in, so as he's coming up the stairs, he hides behind the door, waiting for this new prey to come in. So like, she manages to nudge this, floor-standing mirror so that Richter can see that someone's behind the door. So a little battle ensues, but Richter comes off worst, and I mean really badly worse. He gets glass in his throat. He gets his leg gets snapped. Oh fuck me! His leg gets completely done in. His leg just goes. There's your straight leg. His leg ends up like that. Ugh! Oh, and he's still trying to fight on, and then he gets his head absolutely sledgehammered to oblivion, just to a pulp. Boosh, 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 boosh. Oh god! But he managed. Those keys he nicked. No, you're not getting these keys back until I see the deeds. I see the proof that you own that house. But he manages to pass the keys across the floor, and obviously Leatherface isn't interested in looking the keys through a bus, and she manages to get them. Then, obviously, in another suspenseful sequence, she's going to try and get out the house. Now, fucking hell! I mean, this is ridiculous here. But hang on a second. A lot of it's bare floorboards, creaky floorboards. A lot of the Kilt Mansion is creaky wooden floorboards. And we've got lots of carpeted areas, do not get me wrong, but we have lots of just bare floorboards, which I like and the family like. It's the rustic nature of the Kilt Mansion, and it's great, but it's creaky as fuck. And she will discover this when trying to escape the house. It's creaky as fuck. So he's there, and oh shit, I can't get down the stairs. So what does she do? She climbs over from the landing, over the banisters, the balustrades, to get onto, the balustrades of the downward staircase, and puts her feet on those. When you're watching this, you're going like, oh, you gotta be fucking joking. Now, folks, I have to say that I have done the exact same thing in this house. When I've been not wielding chainsaws or knives or weaponry, I've been trying to sneak up on people, and I've climbed up the stairs and down the stairs to avoid the staircase, and I've done what she did. So although I know everyone's going, oh, you stupid bitch, I've done it myself. So I was okay, I'm with it on that, because those stairs are going to creak, so you're going to go over the other side. I get you. Doesn't fucking work, because she gets off this and she jumps onto one of the lower stairs, and then Leatherface just towers above her on the landing and throws, I think it's a lump hammer, and it hits her, boof, in the head, and it sends her flying, and she goes through the fucking floorboards. And then you get this big cat and mouse stalking chase sequence where she's under the floorboards, and he's got the chainsaw, because while she's under the bed, he's been using the big sledgehammer to chop the wall down, like almost Rob Zombie style from his own remakes of Halloween, to go and get the butcher knife that Michael Myers favours from and the mask from under the floorboards of the Rob Zombie Halloween. He chops the wall down. Why did he end? He left after the Sally Hardesty massacre in 1974, and finds himself in this other fucking orphanage with his chainsaw as well. Who gonna take this guy? It's fucking stupid. It's just a setup, and it doesn't matter. But he's obviously put this fucking chainsaw inside this wall, so he gets the chainsaw that he's been revving all this up, and he then comes after it, and she's fucking slicing and dicing. He's slicing and dicing through the floorboards. And it's like an inverted shark fin cutting through the surf. It's just chainsawing through the floor, and she manages to get. There's a little grate which she can't get out of, but her sister. Remember her sister when the bullet hole? She's a survivor herself of the high school massacre. She's outside and she manages to pull this thing across, but not before the fucking chainsaw cuts through a pipe, and poor Melody gets covered in. Well, it looks like shite. I mean, shite. Is it a downpipe from the toilets? Is that what it is? Because she gets completely deluged in absolutely pure effluent, brown, sloppy, horrible sludge of shit. Christ, I mean, if anything, it makes her more attractive. Oh, I know, I don't need to do this. She's an actress, she can't know the way she looks. We can all help the way our eyebrows look. Says the guy who has virtually no eyebrows. Or rather, these kind of weird. I don't know, are they Klingon eyebrows that I've got there? I don't know. They're kind of weird anyway. But so they get her out and they get to the bus. Now Richter's dead, Nell's dead, Dante's dead. His face fucking side in two. And but you've got about, I don't know, is it 20 people on board this bus who are having a bus party? Because there's a rainstorm now as well. So they get on there and like, oh, we've got to get out of here, we've got to get out of here. There's a killer, blah, 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 whatever. And then ensues, well, the bus massacre is going to go down in splatter history. It will do, but not justifiably, because it's the most ridiculous piece of shit that I've seen. And what happens is, like, just drive. So the guy, we don't know any of these people on there. We've just had fleeting moments of little words and a bit of the fucking partying with the barbecue and fucking whatever. This woke community, because that's the point. They are making a point about having the woke people in there, but they don't really make much of a point of it. They're just there to be sliced and diced, which is no bad thing, I suppose, at the end of the day. And but suddenly the guy driving just stops. Now, someone who's watched it can maybe, I've only watched it once, and I've in no rush to watch it again. But I can't. Why did he stop? Why did he stop the bus? They could have got out of it. He stops the bus for no reason, opens the door and gets out, and they're all like, "Where's he gone? Why did he do it? Why? He didn't hit anything. Nothing happened. Just drive." But he stops it, opens the door and gets out. Next thing you know, his severed head flies in to the driver's compartment, and they'll go, "Ah!" How did his head also come in from that direction when you look in the rear view? Leatherface is down that way. What did he do? Did he fucking throw the head and it hit the door and bounced in? Well, it didn't do that. It's just literally tossed in from just over there. Nice effect. All the effects, well, most of the effects are practical, which is another major plus point, folks. There are lots of pros as well as the multitude of cons in this movie. But, you know, practical effects is great. There's a few which definitely are not practical effects. But, but they still work. They still work. That's the point. They still work. But this head comes in from, like, the wrong angle. And Leatherface is fucking down there. But they can't get this fucking bus started. And Leatherface comes in and he revs up his chainsaw. And I'll be honest, I did laugh when all this crowd has stood there. This is a big double-deckered fucking party bus. It's got bars, it's got fucking music, it's got different rooms to it. What kind of bus is this? I've never seen a bus like this. But he comes in with his face on, and they're all going, that's fake, that. But straight away they go, all their phones come up, and I did laugh at that. I know it's the most obvious knee-jerk thing, but it's what people do. It is what people do. It seems like a modern day cliche now, and it is a cliche, but that's what people do. They just go, oh, carnage, anyone, film it straight away. So what then ensues is the massacre on the bus, where they all get eviscerated. They are chopped to bits. One guy, this is the bit where I'm saying, like, the practical effects are wonderful, but there's no way on earth the guy that gets a chainsaw through like that, and then goes, and his bits fall either way and he collapses. Well, that's not practical, is it? Well, maybe part of it is, but CG of the body split, I don't know. But people are conjoined with chainsaws right through one guy's stomach into the girl cowering behind him. Limbs are like, he picks up a leg and chucks it over. This is Leatherface, just chucks it over his shoulder. But he's cutting through all these. Yes, it's gory as hell, but it's ruined by little intercuts of the people with the cameras and the text message coming up like, oh, that looks fake, that, oh, no way, or whatever. All this kind of text blurb comes up. And I hate found footage movies. I detest them with a vengeance. And this did smack of that. Although I can get the point. I get the point. But it is also a bit, it's too stupid, it's too on the nose, and I thought, no, I don't. if you want to keep this scene as grueling as it should be, don't show any of that crap at all. Don't want no fucking camera footage and no little text messages. Don't do that. Just have him fucking going through everybody. I also have a problem with look, I don't care who is coming at you. They don't know this guy's almost 70. He's a big dude with a chainsaw. He's wearing a skinned face on his own face. And he's quite happy to dismember everybody that you knew and cared about right in front of your very eyes. But there's still very much more of you than him. And whilst he's chainsawing someone, you can pile on him. And no one does. No one tries to fight back. No one. I'd fight back. And I'm not being, I'd probably get fucking, well, obviously, I go up against Leatherface, I'm going to get killed. Because I'm not the hero. Only a girl can survive Leatherface. So, but I'd still have a go. But no one does. No, they don't seek to power on him. There's loads of blokes there. These fucking dickheads don't even attempt to fight back. When he's busy doing this on someone, and they're all, down the back end of the bus, fuck off. One girl tries to get out of a window, and in a nice, you can see it coming a mile away. She's half out the window. You know what's coming. So he chainsaws through her midriff, and she falls into, and all her intestines are spilled down the side of the side of the bus. But our two sisters who are in there, so Melody and Leela, they've got into I think it's a toilet, and there's a little window in the top, and he managed to get through that. Leatherface has been smashing through the door. You know, it took him like 3 seconds to kill 3 dozen people there, but it takes him like 3 or 4 minutes to smash through a door to get to these two. In an earlier sequence, well, the opening sequence when we first meet these people, she picks up a little Joe keyring with a chainsaw on it, because this is Chainsaw County basically. Oh, I should mention John Larroquette, who delivers the opening narration in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, and in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and in the 2003 reboot. He does the opening narration in this movie as well. And that's just it's during that sequence where she picks up this little keyring with a chainsaw on, but it's also got like a corkscrew on it, and so she uses that and she stabs Leatherface, in the arm or the hand or whatever, enough to delay him. So they manage to get out, and then we'll have this fucking cat and mouse game throughout. Well, this little ghost town, you only see the innards of Richter's mechanic shop, the orphanage, and this picture house, an old cinema called the Sagebrush, I think I'm right. But so these two girls go on the lam and try to outwit Leatherface. But you've got Sally Hardesty, played by, I forgot her name again, Olwen Furrer. Now, she turns up in the nick of time, so to speak, in a Texas Ranger Land Cruiser. Woo! You girls get inside, and she locks the door. Don't worry, he's after you. He's after you guys, but I'm after him. Because she's found the wreckage of the sheriff's vehicle and the bodies there, and the skinned mother, Ginny Alice Krieg. She's found her propped up in a chair or something in the middle of this sunflower maze field, skin face and all that. And she knows it's definitely him. It's Leatherface, my old nemesis. So with her Stetson on, and she's now trapped. The 2 girls that she's come, well, her job would be to save them, but she wants to kill Leatherface. But she now traps these 2 girls in the back. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. He's after you, but don't worry, I'm going to take him down. So she gets out the car and leaves them in there. Now, Leatherface has gone back to the orphanage and is now sitting in what I presume is his bedroom, or maybe his mother's room. Can't remember which one it is now. And he's sitting there, and she goes in there with her big shotgun, up the steps, those creaky wooden steps. So we know someone's coming in. And in the most ludicrous sequence ever, she's waited like Laurie Strode fucking decades to take her nemesis down, the guy that's haunted her dreams forever, to take him down. And she stands there with the shotgun on him, and he's got his back to her, for God's sake. And she goes, look at me. What's my name? Say my name. You remember me, don't you? Say my name. Why does he fucking remember it? He's had a lifetime between those events and now. And if you hate him, he's haunted you. Fucking shoot him. Boom. Boom. No, she doesn't. She stands there. And in this long sequence, he just gets up and walks out the room. Suspense just goes like diarrhea. It just floods out. Suspense gone. Cohesion of story and narrative and character development gone completely. Fuck off. What was that? What was that? Shoot him, you stupid bitch. Fucking ridiculous. And he doesn't even attack her. He just fucks off to go and attack those girls again. Oh, Christ. So the entire last act of this movie is a three-way thing. The two sisters and Sally Hardesty. He will come after them. He will do all sorts and stuff. I think fucking whatever. Sally Hardesty will come back outside and she will, at the nick of time, pump fucking shotgun blast into him. A almost 70-year-old man. And these do nothing to him. Nothing. They hit him, he takes the impacts. He then manages to pick up his chainsaw and slam it right through Sally Hardesty, old girl, right? And lift her up. Oh, it looks great. And then fucking throw her into a big pile of trash cans and rubbish. Trash cans and rubbish. Big bin bags. There's no one living there apart from... Up until now, there's been nobody in that town apart from Richter, the mechanic, and Ginny, the old girl with the oxygen tank, and Leatherface. Where's all these fucking bins come from and all this kind of rubbish? But she lands there, and she's and you think she's dead. Not quite. So the cat and mouse game ensues with these fucking women, the two sisters, in another astounding moment of a guy who's, you know, an OAP, who's been shot as well now, and had other injuries. He comes running out of an alleyway when they get into, like, I think they're driving her Land Cruiser. You can hear the rain coming down again now. And it is raining at this time during the sequence in the movie, so that's nice and timely. And he comes running out this alleyway, and he fucking, like a sprinter, fucking man, oh my god, and he hurls his revved up chainsaw at the fucking windscreen of the car. Boosh! It's a great idea. Oh yeah, wow, I've not seen that before. And then they clip him and knock him flying. And then but the car will then crash, and Melody will have her leg impaled on a piece of whatever, I don't know, something has gone through her leg and she's stuck in there and it's crashed. And a confrontation will take place. Our girl, who's the survivor of the high school shooting massacre, will pick up the assault rifle, and like just when he's about to kill Melody, who's impaled inside the driver's cab of the Land Cruiser, the Texas Ranger Land Cruiser, she comes up there and says, "Motherfucker," you know, or whatever it is, like, you know, oh yeah, I hate guns, but you know, I'm gonna use one on you. Click, it's fucking empty. We actually seen in an earlier sequence where Richter, she picks up the gun and he goes, "You ever use one of these?" He takes the magazine out and he clicks out the round that's in the actual chamber. It clicks out. So actually, I can't knock that. We know the gun was empty, but she's obviously forgotten that completely. So I don't mind it. It's still dumbass, but there's a reason why that happened. He's emptied that gun. He's cleaned that gun. So I get that. And then of course, like, well, no, what can she do? So she fucking legs it again. Oh no, hang on, he comes after it. And then you get shotgun blasts. Because Laurie Strode, no, it's not Laurie Strode. Sally Hardesty, but she might as well be Laurie Strode. It's exactly the same fucking story, the exact same setup. She manages to pump some more shotgun blasts into Leatherface, who then manages to drag himself off to the sagebrush cinema. And Leela will go after him in there. She gets the shot because obviously Sally Hardesty will then croak. It's like, do it, finish it now, otherwise he'll haunt you forever. Don't just like fucking run and get to safety. No, you go, you little girl with a weird little fucking munchkin face and strange. The two sisters are very strange looking pieces of, bad femininity. Oh, I know. I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't. But I found them very unpleasant to look at, and I just wanted to punch them. There, I've said it. It's true. So go finish it. Otherwise, he'll haunt you forever. So she goes after him, leaving her sister impaled inside the car and all that. Like, goes after him into this cinema, the Sagebrush cinema. This dilapidated wreck. Not a bad set, I'll be honest. It's got like there's a pool in there, and you hear the chainsaw revving. There's a big hole in the floor, and it's just filled with water. So it's a pool. It's an indoor pool, very black and dark and weird and sinister. And you hear the chainsaw going, and it's behind a curtain, and she pulls the curtain back, and it's just the chainsaw on the floor. Shit! So he comes running out, and he runs at it, and the two of them go into the water. Now, I'll be honest, I thought, you've already paid a lot of homage to Italian giallos with Melody lying under the bed watching Richter being killed in a horrible long sequence full of suspense, and then he's chopping through the wall trying to get his chainsaw out, and she's underneath this bed the whole time. So pure homage to Giallo and Hitchcock. And I thought, well, oh my god, they're going to pay homage to Dario Argento and Inferno, where Irene Miracle, the great Irene Miracle from Midnight Express as well, takes an ill-fated skinny dip into the this fabulous underwater chateau full of opulent paintings and gorgeous tableaus, very ornate, late Victorian room, parlour, but actually dives under there to retrieve a necklace. So I've gone off on a tangent here, but this sequence alone is better than anything you've seen in most of the Texas Chainsaw franchise. And she goes under the water to retrieve this beautiful, weird bloop, bloop, bloop soundtrack, and then suddenly desiccated bodies suddenly appear, skeletons with flesh still on them, and skeletal hands grab at her, and she can't get away. She's trying to get up, and she misses the hole to get out the surface and bangs her head on the ceiling of this underwater room. And it's a great sequence. It's a wonderful, surreal sequence of just nightmarish beauty and horror. And I thought, oh wow, we're going to get that with this. The two of them have gone under the water. What are we going to see underwater? And a fight, and she's going to try and hide somewhere. No, all you see is the water. The camera never goes beneath the water. They go into the water, and then she comes up out of the water after about 2 or 3 minutes of mock suspense, and she gets out, but he comes out behind her. Actually, he comes out a bit like Rambo in Rambo First Blood Part 2, where he's gone over the big canister bomb's gone off, and Rambo's dived into the water, and the Russian helicopter comes over, and they've got the M60, they're fucking strafing the water, and then Rambo manages this incredible leap out of if you can't put your feet on something, then you can't leap up. And he's underwater, deeply underwater, and yet he still manages to come up and grab the gunner and pull him out. It's I love it, but it's fucking ludicrous. Well, this is the same. So Leatherface just comes away out the grabs her, and we get more standoffs and more, and then when you think she's about to be killed, and she's like doing that thing, the chainsaw's coming down, and she's going one way, the other, and all this is about to do it, and then suddenly you get shot again by Melody has managed to drag her leg off this fucking impaling piece of metal, whatever it is, and she's there now. He's not dead. He's gonna fight back again, and I forget who it is now that picks up the chainsaw, but one of these two bitches picks up the chainsaw, and you're thinking like, oh fucking do it, but she just goes, yeah, fuck, hang on a second, I've got it. Just goes like that, and he goes oosh up under his chin, and you think, oh great, I want to see his face split. No, it's just like, I don't know what happened. It's a bit like when Ken Faree gets chainsawed in Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. You see his head getting fucking done, but he comes out the water because he's not dead, and it's just a little tiny cut, and it's like, I feel like, fuck off. Oh yeah, because the MPAA did not like the actual effect that was going to be in there, and you shouldn't have come back, you should have been dead, but hey, what the hell. So he, like that, and he goes, oh, into the water. Doosh, splash. Again, you don't see him underwater. You want a bit of Jason Voorhees, who gets dragged under Camp Crystal Lake so many times with weights and stuff all around his fucking neck and all that. And but Leatherface just disappears, a bit of blood in the water. These two girls think they've survived. Oh, you know, you're a survivor. You survived before, you survived again. And their bond, they're the only two survivors there. They get in the car. I think it's the original car, the car that they and their two friends, the two chefs, drove up in. A self-drive car. I don't drive cars. I don't know what the fuck it means, but someone told me, because this is what I'm coming on to, folks. The finale of the movie is that it's sunrise the next day, and they've survived, so off they go, right? And they're kind of like, they're a strange setup, these two, this dynamic. They're not the best of friends, but Leela, the high school shootout survivor, is latching on to the coattails of her older sister, who's got these grandiose plans of building up this fucking town and all this kind of stuff. But throughout the course of these events, they've seen, that they are really, they're flesh and blood together. They are kith and kin, and they work together as a team, and it's all great. Everything's happy. And then as they're driving off, the sun's rising, the rainstorm's gone, sun's rising. Leatherface just fucking smashes through he's back again, smashes through the window and drags Melody out. This is the bushy eyebrow one. Drags Melody out, and Leela stands up through the sunroof, and the car's just driving down the road. This is what someone said to me, like, oh, it's a car. I was saying, how the fucking hell is that car still moving? Who's driving that car? It's a self-drive car. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it means. The fucking cars that drive themselves now. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So you come back in the morning, like, oh, where's my car? The car's been stolen. No, it's just gone for a self-drive. It's gone for a little tour around the beach. It's done whatever it wants to do. It's gone for a drive through the countryside. A self-drive car? Fuck off. What's next? Fucking cyberdyne systems taking over the world with cybernetic organisms? AI? Not having it. So she stands up in the fucking sunroof, and she sees, and it's a great shot, but it's parodied badly. Well, it is a parody of something we've seen before. And in one big, great shot, he's got her by the hair like that, and he just chainsaws through her neck in one continuous shot, and then holds the head up. And then as she's like, as her sister's going, in this self-drive car, which is just slowly cruising around the end of this fucking one road town. Fucking daft. And he's got the head. He then does the famous, turned it off. The chainsaw twirl. He does all that shit, like, which, if anything, pissed me off more than anything else in the movie, that they did that. Oh my god. So where's the ending of the movie? Where does she go? What happens? What? I know they want a sequel. David Blue Garcia, the director of this, Fede Alvarez have both said that they expect a sequel out of it. They may get one. They don't deserve it at all. They don't deserve it, but I can see it happening. If Halloween can limp on forevermore, then so can this. But she just drives off, and he's doing his fucking twirl and all that, and then the credits roll up. These neon fucking credits with like bright purple, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, woo, all that kind of shit, like. And then all these Bulgarian names come up, like all these fucking bizarre names, who must be on the cheap. And then you get like a post-credit sequence, which, fuck me, wow. Yeah, it's meant to be Leatherface walking back to the original farmhouse that they had in the first movie. It doesn't look a damn thing like the original farmhouse. It looks like exactly what we saw from Rambo 4, where Stallone, this is the one after one in Burma, where he's gone home, he's saved a couple of the mercenaries and all that, and he's completely with the fucking 50 caliber machine gun on the back of the Jeep. He's just took out 50 gazillion fucking Burmese troops. And then the last shot we see of is Johnny Rambo in his old M60 with his fucking kit bag over his shoulder, going back home to the Rambo farmstead. It looks identical to that. Fucking identical. And are we meant to applaud? What are we meant to applaud? What are we celebrating here? That Leatherface is the anti-hero of this. That's the impression that I get. Because all the antagonists I hate. They're all unlikable. They do the most ridiculous things. We expect that. It's a given in a genre slasher movie, which this is. This is, folks. Make no bones about it. This is a slasher pit. A carnage-heavy, blood-rife massacre epic. It is not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, though. Why? Leatherface is not a serial killer. He is the imbecilic member of a dysfunctional family. He always was. That's what he's meant to be. In the first movie and in Tobe Hooper's sequel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, he is just part of an ensemble. He's the most monstrous part, but he's only a part of it. They are just as nasty as he is. In fact, if not more so. And the reboot with Jay Leamy and the prequel really put that across. That he's just part of a group who are all nasty bastards. And so suddenly, because he's a poster boy, he's a titan of terror, an icon of horror. We're going to make movies with him. So the Alexandra Daddario fucking travesty. So it's just do what you do, cuz. Fuck you. Shit. Absolute shit. He's just... That's not how he acts. He needs people to look after him. How the hell would he have got from the initial massacre, Sally Hardesty escaping, how would he have got from there to somewhere else? What happened to the other members of the family? Oh, they're forgotten about. They don't matter. He just took himself off and took up residence at this orphanage, and she took him in. So for all those intervening years, what has he been doing? Has he been doing anything nasty at all? Anything sinister? Anything weird? Skinning people? Taking faces? Eating people? It just doesn't make any sense that he'd have done this and then not been caught at all. And got on with a crowd of other kids and this woman. No, fuck off. It's just because he's not a serial killer. And at almost 70 years of age, suddenly, after losing his surrogate mother, he will then be able to wield weapons and run and fight and battle and chop walls down and fucking throw hell chainsaws and sledgehammers, be hit by cars, take multiple shotgun blasts. You are fucking kidding me. So you've gone beyond what was just the huge, imbecilic, retarded, learning difficulties, depraved person that he was, which is believable, and you've made him this supernatural beast which cannot be killed. You've purely gone down the whole Michael Myers road, purely, and it's fucking stupid. So, because I've now said that, you have to watch this movie. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't watch it, because this is the weird thing. I don't hate this movie at all. There's far worse in the Texas Chainsaw franchise, and infinitely worse in the Halloween and Freddy Krueger franchises, and especially Hellraiser. Fuck, it's fucking appalling anyway. But take this as almost like a Hatchet movie, and I love the Hatchet movies. There's where they created a pure Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, lumbering fucking bogeyman killer in the backwoods who can't be killed, and he does the most nasty things to everybody that comes near. It works. They got three, I think it's 3 so far, Hatchet movies, and I've loved all 3 of them. They've been brilliant. They're so OTT, so gory, so beyond belief. They're wonderful. I love them to bits. But it's a new character you created. He's purely derived from all these others. Doesn't matter. But what you've done now, like with Michael Myers, you've made this icon of terror and suspense into what the rip-offs were always doing of the original character. So Leatherface has now become one of the infinite rip-offs of Leatherface. You've made him into a big supernatural lumbering brute. He's just Jason Voorhees. He's Michael Myers. Just with a penchant for the chainsaw. You know, it could be anything. So what I'm saying, folks, is like, if you watch this movie, and I'm not saying don't watch it, because I actually, bizarrely enough, had a lot of fun with it. At the same time as hating it, and my eyes rolling, cascading back and forth, you know, at the lunacy of people's decisions and the fucking horrendous writing and the stupidity of the narrative and the whole premise. I still had fun with it being a splatterfest. Just divorce yourself from the fact that this is just a big lumbering killer in this ghost town. Don't think of it as Leatherface, because it's only going to ruin it for you. He is not the Leatherface that you've seen. It's not him. Not him. I was going to say it's not him, but it definitely isn't him. That's Chop Top. But view it as its own thing, as its own slasher movie, and you'll have a ball, because the direction isn't spectacular, but there is a degree of suspense which is built up, especially in the lying under the bed thing, watching a horrific murder taking place, protracted murder. Although, having said that, there are at least 2 sequences where, and I think it's Leela on both occasions, will stare at a shotgun for way too long, and you're like, just pick it up. Why are you staring? Oh, it's because you don't like guns. And therein lies the other problem with this, that you're trying to shoehorn in social commentary. Gun laws, Texan gun laws in particular, high school massacres, the leniency of all of this and how weaponry is so freely available, and the people that use weaponry and are not bad, as in Richter. So why make assumptions about someone who's carrying guns? He's actually going to turn out to be a good guy. He's going to try and help you. And the whole dichotomy of, in fact, they didn't do this. If I was going to make this movie with these same characters and bring Sally Hardesty back, I would have completely rewritten the entire Sally Hardesty character. Yeah, she could be a Texas Ranger. I don't have a problem with that. Having survived, because this is the thing, she survived an ordeal, a grueling ordeal, which lasted overnight. She saw her mates getting killed, and knew about them getting killed anyway. And oh my God, that's going to have a huge effect upon you. But unlike Laurie Strode, who has PTSD and just becomes a survivalist and trains herself, waiting for the moment when he's going to be released. No, Michael Myers was captured, according to the David Gordon Green cycle of things. Michael Myers was captured after that night in 1978, forgetting, what happened in Haddonfield General Memorial Hospital afterwards, which I think should have stayed in there. But anyway, we'll go into all that. But then she's like, oh, he's gonna get out, so I'm gonna wait for him. I'm gonna wait the rest of my life for him. Fucking bollocks. Sally Hardesty becomes a Texas Ranger, and then because he hasn't been caught, that's the point. Leatherface wasn't caught, and as I said earlier on in the movie, well, why didn't they catch him? Well, how are you gonna catch someone? He wore a mask. She doesn't know what he looks like. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, it does. It does make fucking sense. You don't know what he looked like, so. I know it's tenuous, but there you go. So she becomes a Texas Ranger, which I believe, and she's brick hard. She's fucking savage, and she just wants him. But she's obviously done Texas Rangery stuff as well. She's a qualified ranger, and she's a known commodity. So she's a fucking badass now. And but she wants to track him down. Now, what I would have done if I was writing this, I would have built up this whole thing. If you're going to use, people who are massacre survivors, and they're traumatized by this, like Leela, bullet wound, she's seen people die in front of her, but she played dead and got away with it. The film does show all this, but it doesn't make it emphatic enough. It doesn't get the point across. It just looks cliched and like fucking trite and contrived. That's where it fucks up. But I would have had them meeting Sally Hardesty far earlier, and maybe a reluctant bond being forged between them, and like the bond being, hang on, you survived a shootout, a massacre in high school, and at least then she'd have known. And then when their paths cross again, and she's got to try and save them, and take the gun. There'd be more weight to her taking the gun. There'd be a personal sort of thing between two people who've survived the most horrific of events. Do you get me? Do you see where I'm coming from there? But the film doesn't do that. The film doesn't do it. It squanders what is actual character depth. Okay, it's a splatter pick. But if you're going to bring these issues in, use them properly. Don't just piss them away like so many blank bullets, Just don't. What's the point? You brought it in. Use it properly. Like this whole woke community thing coming in. All you've done with them, you're not making any statements at all about are they right? But are they right? Is their attitude the best? Renovate this old town, gentrify it. Is that a good idea? Make it an artisan sort of locale. Really? It's bullshit. And then pay the price why outsiders shouldn't mess with rural historical places where there's a huge community base. There isn't that. You actually get early on William Hope as the sheriff. Remember I mentioned him fucking hours ago? They pull over our four people off. The first four people, including the two sisters that arrive there, and they pull them over, and because we're actually from round here, and they come out with this little fucking, I think it's a nursery rhyme about Harlow, and he sort of chimes in with it. Okay, kids, just be respectful. To who? There's no one there apart from fucking Ginny and Leatherface. And Richter. And Richter. How come Richter didn't know that this big lumbering fucking badass who was right next door is capable of this kind of violence? Are you fucking kidding me? He lives there. He doesn't know. What? And there's nobody else in this town. Nobody. It's one fucking hick town. One street. And all these facades. But 3 places that you can go inside. It's... Oh, do you know what? I'm kind of going to want to say that watch it as a splatter movie and you'll enjoy it. But I'm getting annoyed by just talking about the bits that don't work and don't add up at all. But if you just divorce yourself from that and just watch the gore, the splatter, hey ho. Okay, the film is shit, but it's enjoyable shit at the same time. And I had far more fun with this than I did with Halloween Kills, I'll be honest, because I fucking despise that movie. And I despise David Gordon Green and what he's done to Halloween. That rhymes, unfortunately. But he might be able to redeem things with Halloween Ends. I might. I'll cross my fingers and I will live in hopes. But I've seen what he can do with these two movies, and I'm not impressed at all. But with this, there is another plus point, and you've been hearing it behind me, and it is Colin Stetson's angsty, jarring, listen to it, score. Now, I think I may have mentioned before, he scored Richard Stanley's Colour Out of Space. He did A24's Hereditary. And he's done other things as well. But and I do love his music. Now, his music borders between soundscape and just surreal, angsty, weird, jarring, bizarre stuff. But I do like it. I do like what he's done here. And what he's done, especially with this, is the original movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and indeed Massacre Part 2, Tobe Hooper's movies, have very minimal scores. In fact, the original score is just, it's twisted. Excuse me. I've been talking for so long, and my tea's gone horribly cold. Horribly isn't the word. Oh, God. That's despicably, abnormally cold. Their score for the first movie was nature sounds and just twisted, horrible weirdness and rattles and just strangeness. And the Polaroid, the scene of all the bones and the sculptures made out of dead bodies at the start of the movie, where John Larroquette does the voiceover, and they're taking the Polaroids, and the flash goes off, and it goes. That's what Colin Stetson does with this. Listen, he's taking those elements from that movie, the original movie, and he's put them into this horrible, nihilistic, bleak, frightening, white noise soundscape, and I love it. He's actually got the idea that, look, we're tying this into the original movie because David Blue Garcia is not tying the film in at all well. Although I don't think we can blame him too much for that, because he came in at the last minute to direct this, and all the decisions have been made. So it's all down to Fede Alvarez and the producers. And we know that test screenings of this were disastrous. Fede Alvarez now says otherwise, but no, they were disastrous. That's why it skipped theatrical run and went straight to Netflix. You know it, we all know it, and don't try and get around it now. The film's going to do well, even from Netflix. The amount of people that have been on to me to discuss this movie and talk about this movie, I was always going to review this. Always, I was so looking forward to it. I had exceptionally low expectations, and of course, it struggled. It didn't even reach them. No, I actually had a fair bit of fun with this. And no, it doesn't sound like it did, but I actually did, because I just got off on the gore, and I thought it looked good, even though it doesn't look remotely like Texas, Bulgaria. It looks fuck all like Texas, and that purpose-built town. As I say, it's so limiting. And isn't that bizarre? The original movie is set primarily in the Sawyer family farmhouse. So much of it is set there, but it becomes claustrophobic and cloying. And yet the film does seem to have a huge scope to it. The cinematography, when she gets off that swinging bench and she walks towards the house and the camera goes under the bench and follows her in their little hot pants. Sweet Jesus. And the film opens up all the way around you. That's genius. That's fucking genius. That's visual panache at its best. This film doesn't have anything like that. You do have exterior shots. You do have these open meadow fields and these huge sunflower things. Not sure why they're there. Does Texas have sunflowers? I don't know. Does Bulgaria have sunflowers? This fucking film has sunflowers. And they don't look too bad, to be honest. But there's never a moment when you think this is Texas. And why wasn't it shot in Texas? What's the reason for that? Can someone let me know what was the reason? The original movie was shot in Texas. Chainsaw 2 was shot in Texas. And they're both low-budget movies. So it can't be for budget reasons. It's low budget in Eastern Europe. Well, it may be. But it's still going to be fucking dearer to go to Eastern Europe than shoot in Texas. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. Someone can let me know. But this film, it's called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's shot in Bulgaria. It doesn't make any sense, and it does not look like Texas. It just doesn't. But Stetson's score is wonderful. It's unpleasant. It's unsettling. In the film, it's worrying and fits perfectly with what you're seeing on screen. Divorced from it and listening to it on its own, it's deeply, deeply unnerving. And will rattle you to the core. But that's the point of it. So it works. Stetson did a bang up job, mate. David Blue Garcia, I think you did the best you could with a damaged property, and producers who had already said, look, this is what's happening. I don't give a fuck what you say. This is what you're going to do. Shoot this now. The effects are great, by and large. In fact, yeah, they're wonderful. The Richter's broken leg, I think, despite the decapitations and dismemberings and eviscerations and people being held up on chainsaws and all that kind of stuff, I think it was that leg break where his leg just goes, what? It's like no one's leg should become a banana, and that's what his does. And you go, oh, fuck. And he still fights on, which is great. But then he gets his head fucking bludgeoned. And that's another thing as well. Rob Zombie did the head stomping in Halloween 2. His Halloween 2. Halloween 2018 ripped that off with the head stomping of Dr. Sartain. The head stomping is great, but Dr. Sartain, fuck right off. And there's other gory elements in this which are tremendous. But I don't think the Bus Massacre is anywhere near as legendary as people are making out straight away. It's let down by the found footage elements and the phone captures and the text messages. I get why it's there, but for me it deflates the intensity of that situation and that sequence. But I do like the huge idea of this fucking massacre, because that's genuinely a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's in the fucking title. He does it. He massacres fucking 24 people there. Oh my god, I've got to stop yakking. Folks, anyway, I think I have pretty much covered this to the nth degree. I've done a review which lasts longer than the movie itself. The movie is actually quite mercifully short. It's under I think it's about 82 minutes, something like that. It's only a short movie. And watch it, have a go. It's Netflix. It may yet come out on Blue. In fact, I do believe there is a Blu-ray, maybe UHD, set for release, which Netflix don't normally do. So people who are collecting all the Texas Chainsaw movies, which includes me as well. So I would buy this. However much I knock this, I'm going to buy it and the collection. And if it's any consolation, I have not bought Halloween Kills. So there you go. I stick by my guns. I love Halloween, the franchise, and I've got Halloween 5 and I've got Halloween Resurrection, but I've not got Halloween Kills, and I don't think I'm ever going to get it. I've seen the full extended version and it didn't make one fucking bit of difference to me. It's a fucking piece of shit. And the reason why I hate that more is because it's got better production values, it's got a better pedigree, it's got a supposedly better, more renowned director, and it's got the backing and endorsement of the original Halloween creator, John Carpenter. And yet the film is, because of all that, the badness of the film really, really, really is pungent, and I can't stand it. I think it's a fucking terrible, terrible movie with zero suspense. At least in this movie, you've got some suspense and you've got the gore. The kills are better by far. They're nastier by far than what you see in Halloween Kills. If you're gonna gauge them like that, I mean, who fucking cares? You know, there's horses for courses in it. But I probably had a lot more fun with this movie than Halloween Kills. but I hated Halloween Kills. And this is no great shakes either. Pick the bones out of that. So anyway, there you go. There's my harebrained, completely anarchic, off the wall, bouncing from here to there, hither to the other, and fucking back and forth review of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 from Netflix. And is it Legendary? I can't remember who the fucking film company is. But anyway, there you go. Leatherface, he's out there. He's gone back home because they want a sequel, don't they? And they may get one. Who knows? But you could have just done this as another character and it would have worked infinitely better by threading it back to the... trying to throw some, little callbacks to the original movie. It didn't really work. The chainsaw twirl, even the face ripping. Where's the cannibalism? Where's all that gone? He wasn't a serial killer. He wasn't a mass murdering serial killer. He was part of a strange, depraved family who happened to be cannibals. He didn't go out fucking do it. Anyway. I've said me piece. Folks, please be happy, be healthy, be safe. Don't go to Bulgaria. Because there's weird Texan chainsaw wielding maniacs out there. Who knew? So in this bizarre meantime and forever, waiting for Russia to invade Ukraine in between time, please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all.